So welcome to Chef Breslin. And today we're going to talk about red spice chicken. Take it away, Chef.
Thank you, Krista. So red spice chicken is in the top 3 most popular dishes on our menus for our undergraduate students. They just love it. It's easy, it's a comfort food, it's flavorsome, and it's so simple to make. So I'm going to show you how to make it. First of all, we're going to make the side dish that we're going to serve today with it, which is rice and vegetables. So I'm going to grab a pot. This is so easy. I actually put Uncle Ben's rice for the rice to use because you cannot go wrong with it. It's so easy. So a cup of Uncle Ben's rice goes into the pot. Then I have some corn, the recipe you'll have. Got some corn, some peas, diced carrots, some onion, put some parsley in, a bay leaf, and chicken stock. I always cook rice with a stock. I don't because it's absolutely no flavor. So we're going to put 3 cups of chicken stock in.
And Chef, it would be okay to use vegetable stock if you were doing this as a vegetarian side?
Yes, most definitely. Yeah. And I'm going to put some butter. And of course, if you've seen before, I use Kerrygold butter. Butter goes in the pot. Put salt and pepper, and we season that at the end. And this just goes on to a high heat. And then we lower it down. Once it comes to a boil, we lower it down and let it simmer with a lid on for 20 minutes, and it's done. Perfectly done. So that's cooking. So while that is cooking, we are going to make a red spice chicken. Now, what we need to do is, I'm going to bring you over here, actually, to the stove. Now, see, can everyone see that? Chris,
good.
Triangle work?
Yep.
Okay, so when you're working with chicken, always put gloves on. Wash your hands very well because potentially there is salmonella on the outside. So I have my chicken and I've got some seasoned flour here. I've got some hot pan on with some oil. And I'm going to season it with a nice coating of flour on it.
Chef, can you describe what you're doing? Because we can't see you coating the chicken.
Oh, you can't?
No.
Can you see now?
Yes.
Okay, so it's just, I've got some seasoned flour, just a little bit of regular flour with salt and pepper, and I'm dredging the chicken in this flour. And I want to get a nice sear on the chicken. We want to get that chicken nice and crispy, and the flour will help us achieve that crispiness. So the chicken is being seared very simply. And the next thing I want to do is, I'll move this over here. And I've got the hot sauce. So the hot sauce, we use Texas Pete's hot sauce. It's not as hot or as stringent as some hot sauces. So, and students really like this sauce. So I'm going to bring that to a boil, and when I do, it's very important is to add butter to it. So the butter kind of rounds up the sauce, it makes it smoother. Whenever you're using hot sauce for wings, we always finish it with some butter, and it really makes a huge difference to do that. So as you can see, the chicken is on, the rice is on, chicken is sizzling nicely, and we have our hot sauce, and that is nearly coming up to a boil. And when it does, I'm going to show you what we do. I'm getting some butter. I'm dropping in some butter, and I'm just literally just going to stir in the butter, and it will all homogenize. The butter is melting now.
Chef, roughly how long do you cook the chicken on each side?
Until you get a brown color. I'm going to bring the chicken back over so you can see it. It depends on the size of your chicken, but it's not, I don't have a color yet, but I want to get a nice brown color on that chicken. And you can see it starting to form. Or sometimes what we do is we get a color on one side and then put it in the oven and finish it in, which we're going to finish this in the oven anyway. I'm going to show you. So the chicken is nicely sizzling.
Chef, you have a question, which is, what can we use as a substitute for Texas Pete hot sauce? The viewer is in South Africa. So can you talk about hot sauce and sort of what that you're looking for?
You can basically use whatever hot sauce you like. I have Frank's red sauce, red hot here. There's tons of them on the market. Whichever one you like, and it also is how hot you like it. Some people like really hot sauce. I don't particularly. That's why I like this one. But you can use any hot sauce, but you should put the butter in. So I'm going to come back over. The hot sauce is ready. You see the butter is gone. This is ready to go. The chicken is sounding good. Yeah, I'm getting color here. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about food safety with chicken? You said you were wearing gloves when you were handling the chicken because you want to prevent salmonella. Can you talk a little bit about how you keep safe with chicken?
Okay, sure. So chicken, as with any meat or raw fish, you should always store it on the bottom of your refrigerator. The bottom drawer is where that should be, never above anything that's ready to eat. And chicken, salmonella exists on the outside mostly. So you want to make sure that how you're handling the chicken, that you're washing your chopping board after you're cutting the chicken, your knife, completely sterilize and sanitize them. And if you're in the sink and you're washing chicken, you need to wash the sink with a sanitizer. Be very careful with chicken, because think about wherever it's touching, it's leaving potentially salmonella behind. So that's something we take very seriously in food service. And a lot of people get sick in their homes from mishandling chicken, undercooking chicken, and storing it incorrectly. So you can hear the chicken cooking right now. This is ready to go. Now, I have the chicken, so this is what I'm going to do. Now, these two pieces are a little big, so they're going to take longer to cook. You put your chicken in an oven, ready dish.
Can you describe what you mean by an oven-ready dish?
So a dish, it could be metal. This is a Pyrex dish, and this dish is suitable for baking in an oven. It won't crack. It's designed for that. So a Pyrex or a metal dish. Now I'm pouring the hot sauce over. You see that? The hot sauce has gone in. So these are the two components of hot sauce. Now look at the rice is boiling. So I'm going to put the rice on the back burner on low. Leave it back here. And cover it. That'll be ready in 20 minutes, the same time this chicken is ready. Now the chicken, I'm putting it into the oven. And she goes, and that chicken will be ready when it reaches 165 degrees. So you want to use a thermometer and measure it for 165 degrees. Now, with the magic of Zoom, I have prepared this exact dish earlier. And can you see that?
Maybe back away just a little bit so it can focus.
Yeah. So I put the rice in the dish.
Beautiful.
I have some blue cheese dressing that I'm going to just put over the chicken.
Quick question, Chef. What is the temperature of the oven?
350 degrees. So 350 degrees is the average temperature you mostly set your oven for cooking practically everything. And then make sure that it reaches its internal temperature of 165 degrees. Now I just put some parsley on it. And that is a recipe that students absolutely love and look forward to. And when we have it on the menu, we know it has a high acceptability factor because it's a comfort food. And they enjoy it very much. Do you have more questions, Kristen?
Fantastic. That was incredibly fast. Is there any question about, like, is there any limit to how much chicken you can put in the pan? Do you worry about that kind of thing?
Yes, you don't want to overcrowd the pan. You don't want chicken on top of one another. So just once it has enough room that it can actually, there'll be no cold spots. If you put chicken on top of each other, you're going to get areas where it's not going to reach that temperature. And you could potentially have some raw chicken in there. So you want to make sure that the chicken is, you could put it on a cookie pan if you want, or a roasting dish like I put in the oven, and just make sure it's nicely evenly spaced. And check the temperature. So when I pulled this out, I took the temperature and it was 164. That's perfect because it's going to keep continuing to cook, and it'll reach 165 in a few minutes after I took it out of the oven.
What kind of rice did you use, and can you use basmati rice, for example?
Yes, you can use basmati, but I used Uncle Ben's because it is so easy and simple, and you can't go wrong with it. If you don't treat basmati rice correctly and wash it right, you have to wash it 5 or 6 times, you could come up with a very different, not so desirable dish. So once you follow the instructions on the packet of basmati, it does require washing, where this doesn't. This requires nothing. Just put it in the pan. It'll cook perfectly fine. But you could use any rice. You could use brown rice. We also substitute this dish with tofu. You could have tofu and cut them in similar pieces and do exactly what I did with the flour and the hot sauce. And you could have brown rice with vegetable stock for this, and it would be a completely vegan dish, obviously without the blue cheese dressing.
So when you're dredging the chicken, you're simply using the moisture that's already part of the chicken. You don't have to run it through egg wash or anything else, right? You just have to use the moisture of the chicken, and the same would be true for tofu?
Yes. Yep. You don't need to, when you're breadcrumbing a dish, you do flour, egg wash, and then breadcrumbs. But this is just the first step. It's just flour. You could use, if you're gluten intolerant, you could use corn flour, cornstarch.
Cornstarch?
Corn flour.
Corn flour. Okay, great.
That would work very well.
All right. I don't see any further questions in the chat. Are there any other questions? It seems like such a simple dish.
I mean, you saw how quick I made it. It's so easy. I mean, it's all cooking behind me right now. The rice is cooking, and the chicken is in the oven cooking. It's so easy, so simple, and it's got a lot of flavor. It's quite delicious.
Is it a question, is it any different if you're using chicken tenderloins, like breast tenderloins?
No, you can use that totally. It'll just cook faster. Yeah, you can absolutely use that. You could use chicken boneless, skinless thigh chicken, but how we serve it is the chicken breast. But you certainly could do that.
So if you were using tenderloins, how much time would you give that in the oven?
Oh, probably 10 minutes. But I would certainly make sure you check with the thermometer that it's reached its internal temperature of 165. But yeah, tenderloins they'd be like more like buffalo boneless wings. That's what basically you'd be making.
And is the rumor true that this was a recipe from home?
Many years ago it was, yes. Yeah. And students loved it so much it went permanently on the menu.
Terrific. Well, I'm not seeing any further questions, so thank you so very much, Chef, for sharing this recipe. I'm sure there are undergraduates all over the world, but they're excited to have it. And I just saw a request for a demonstration of the butternut squash gnocchi dish in a future cooking class.
Yeah, that is a very popular dish.
All right. Thank you so much, Chef.
You are most welcome and happy cooking.